It's time now to go around the country to get the latest recruiting intel. We'll hear from National Recruiting Analysts Tom Loy, Brandon Huffman, and you, Blair. Here's Tom to start off our recruiting roundup.
Thanks, Emily. The first two guys that I want to talk about is top 100 receiver Vernell Brown III out of Orlando, Florida, Jones High School. This is a guy that I recently connected with out at the Elite 11 finals. He was one of the top pass catchers, kind of working with the elite quarterbacks across the country. And nothing's really changed. It's really been a Florida State battle over the last few weeks. Ohio State's very much in play. Miami's in play. But really, when it comes down to it, I fully expect him to land at Florida or Florida State. Now, the reason I haven't put in a crystal ball yet for the Gators is because I wanted to see how things went in Tallahassee over the weekend. And from everything I've gathered, Florida State made a big push, probably much bigger than even Vernell Brown expected. So I'm not quite ready to put the crystal ball pick on the Gators. I want to see if the buzz with Florida State wears off. He's set to make a decision in July. Again, I still expect it to be Florida, but I'm just not ready to put the pick in because I do think the Seminoles moved the needle a little bit. But again, Florida fans, I still like the Gators to pull this one out. He's a legacy, and I expect him to follow in his father's footsteps. The other one I want to talk about is top 100 tight end Andrew Olesh out of Pennsylvania, Southern Lehigh High School in Center Valley. Now, this is a guy that's been all over the place in terms of Michigan, Alabama, Penn State, Florida, and even Ole Miss was all in play. But coming out of this weekend, I fully expect Michigan to be the team to beat and to land his commitment. We also connected at the Elite 11 finals. He was catching balls all over the place, and I could not have been more impressed with what he did. If there's a better tight end in the class of 2025, I haven't seen him live quite yet. Andrew Olesh is the real deal. And for me, my crystal ball pick is on the Wolverines. Fully expect them to get this one done. This was a game changer of an official visit from everything I've gathered. So look for him to make a decision sooner rather than later. I do expect him to make his final commitment in July. And right now and moving forward, I expect Michigan to get that one done. It's going to be a massive pickup for Sharon Moore. Now let's head over to Brandon Huffman out west to see how things are going out there.
Thanks, Tom. Well, it was a busy week for the number one player in the state of Hawaii, Jaron Keawe-Sagapolutele, who was just at the Elite 11 finals last week, but sandwiched in between the Elite 11 finals was a visit to Boise State last weekend and then a visit to Cal this past weekend. Prior to that, he took an official visit to Oregon State and to Utah State. Now, Sagapolutele is still undecided. He has yet to make his decision, but those four schools, Utah State, Oregon State, Boise State, and Cal, all are in the mix to land the talented lefty who made the final Elite 11 after his performance in Los Angeles. Now, Cal had the last official visit for him this weekend. He came straight from LA, actually threw in their 7-on-7 tournament with his high school team, helped them win. But he's had a busy couple of weeks, and now he'll hone in on those four teams to make his decision here in the coming weeks. After him, Josiah Sharma is one of the top uncommitted players in Northern California. He too took an official visit this last weekend, heading down to Tuscaloosa to Alabama, where he had previously committed to Kalen DeBoer when DeBoer was the head coach at Washington. Sharma announced for the Huskies on New Year's Day, and that night, Kalen DeBoer and Washington beat Texas in the Sugar Bowl to go to the national championship game. When DeBoer left for Alabama, Sharma opened his recruitment up a few weeks later, and the Tide are still in the mix. The Huskies are still in the mix. Texas, who lost to DeBoer on the day that Sharma announced, is in the mix, and so too is Oregon, who had him in for an official visit last week. It's a 4-team race. Can the Huskies reel him back in despite the coaching change? They're hoping to. Oregon made a late surge, getting him on campus for an unofficial visit the first week in June, then getting him for the official last week. But Texas and Alabama had been the two SEC schools that had maintained this long-standing presence in his recruitment since he opened it up. So we'll see where Sharma is going to announce when he decides at the end of the week on the 24/7 Sports YouTube channel. And now for more national recruiting scoop, we go back to Blair Angulo.
Thank you, Huff. I want to begin with Dylan Robinson, a top 24/7 athlete from Bonita High School in Laverne, California. It was a busy week for him. He kicked it off with a midweek official visit to Notre Dame. He wrapped things up back home in California with an official visit to UCLA this past weekend. He told me that both schools are pushing the same angle in terms of the academic appeal being a 40-year decision and not just a 4-year decision, but also the ability to make an impact on the football field. That's kind of where the similarities end, though. There are some stark differences with what Notre Dame wants him to do and what UCLA wants him to do. At Notre Dame, Dylan Robinson would be a wide receiver. He said that that offense is really special and he would be a playmaker catching the football. At UCLA, they like him at safety. He would be one of those big prospects that can man the secondary, cover players in the slot, but also cover tight ends downfield. That's also an attractive position for him. So now it depends on whether he prefers offense or prefers defense. Utah and Washington are also involved, and this one is really, really close to call right now. Another prospect that hit the road was Seuseu Alofaituli. We talked about Douglas Utu to kick off the show. Well, this is his teammate at Bishop Gorman. He's actually ranked ahead of him, the number one offensive lineman out west in this 2025 cycle. Just made it out to Miami. The Hurricanes have been considered the front runner. Recruitment. He wrapped up his official visit slate, hopes to make a decision this summer. Michigan, Nebraska, Oregon have all gotten official visits as well. But I get the sense that it's Mario Cristobal and Alex Mirabal making a huge charge here and leading the race because of their involvement and because of what they were able to do at Oregon previously. I think that's where SJ got that familiarity with both Mario Cristobal and Alex Mirabal with what they did with Penei Sewell and Jackson Powers Johnson. This one, I think, is also a little bit too close to call right now, but it sounds like Miami is edging out in front of those other contenders for the talented offensive lineman from Las Vegas.
Thank you so much. We have the best recruiting team there is, if that was not obvious in the previous segment. Check out more of their work at 247sports.com. You got crystal balls, analysis, VIP info. 247sports.com is the place for all that and more.